Hey, what's up? My name is Agent Psycho, aka Toro Sniper 98. So Fate Grand Order in English has been out for over 3 months now. Again, since at the time of this recording, I'm not exactly sure when this video will be up, so it could actually be more than just 3 months. And during this time, we've leveled up, ascended, even grailed our best or our favorite servants, and have gotten plenty of new ones who've been put into the game since its initial release back in late June, early July to make the fight against those darn enemies who won't give us those drops that we want just a little bit easier. I'm looking at you, demon guy. And they've come in all shapes and sizes. Waifus, husbandos, pedo bear. Wait a minute. Obviously, generally speaking that is, the most desirables of these servants are the 5 stars, the servants whose gold cards have, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars on top of their borders. I mean, they're just not called super rare for no reason. What, you didn't know what SSR stood for? And because they're so rare and desirable, again, generally speaking, people have gone to great lengths to get them in whatever ways they deem necessary, whether it be re-rolling counts over and over until they roll a 5-star servant that they want, setting up entire catalysts to summon that one particular waifu, or spending over $2,400, 12 days, and a piece of their sanity for that one flashy gold rider card.
I'm gonna have my second level 100 class.
Oh,
there it is! There it is! Yes! 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 Oh!
Sometimes these methods don't work, but sometimes they do. So let's assume that you're successful, or in other words, just plain lucky, and you get the 5-star servant that you want. You're ecstatic, you're on cloud 9, you're just glad that you finally have your hands on your favorite waifu or husbando, and you start leveling them, start shoving all kinds of essential materials down their throats, maybe even a grail here or there, depending on your mood. And then what? Because maybe you don't know how to use that particular 5-star servant towards whom you've poured your life, your soul, and your time, and your quartz, and your essential materials. He or she might be your favorite husband or waifu, but let's face it, if you don't know how to use them or know what you need to do with them when the fight really matters, then what good is sending them out in the first place? Maybe they'll be fine when you tell them to go farm more essential materials for you that you probably won't get anyway, but when push comes to shove, are you really the master that they deserve, or are you just another Shiro who stands around saying, as you watch all your servants die horribly in Camelot? Despite the plethora of players who have already played the Japanese version of the game and the existence of FGO resources like the Wiki, Chernopedia, and YouTubers posting plenty of helpful content, including servant spotlight videos, for new players of the game to make the most out of their accounts and servants, there are still plenty more people who still really don't know how to make the best use of the 5 stars that they may or may not have. So I figured that, as your friendly neighborhood whale, I'd make a video talking quickly and hopefully concisely about the general strategies and strengths of each of the 5 stars that are currently available in the game at the time of this video recording. This way, you know what your servants can do both to best kill enemies and best defend themselves against said enemies, and consequently not feel like a downright pleb when you're forced to watch your precious 5-star get deleted off your screen in some weird gold pixie dust or some shit. Now before we get started, I'd just like to kindly remind everyone that this video is in no way intended to be a tier list or review video for all the servants being discussed henceforth. If you're looking for something like that, I suggest you go smash your head against @media's tier list or something. Again, this video is strictly intended to give you a good, if not rough, idea of how you should go about using your 5-star servants like a normal and rational human being, and not like a complete and utter meme. Now that we've covered all our bases, let's get to it, starting with the Sabers. Artoria is a general-purpose, rough-and-tumble Saber with high health and decent damage. She's got skills that make her a very honest servant in a game where honest and straightforward skills put you at the bottom of the tier list. But fuck the tier list for a quick second, this ain't the right video for that shit. Saber's skills and deck let her fit in with basically any team composition that you want. Being a low-tier 5-star servant doesn't really stop her from being a good addition to any team. Or, if you want to put it this way instead, you're never really making a big mistake putting her into any team composition, so long as you're not really picky about who needs to fill that last spot. Just don't bring along to any boss fights. Her general purpose role does get shit on during situations like boss fights because those fights are more dependent on like gimmicks and memes as opposed to honest mechanics. As for how you should use her, Saber's Excalibur is perfect for wave clears, especially on Lancer XP or Lancer daily days. Remember that Saber has Mana Burst and can bust her Brave Chain, so if you got both available to you, just keep in mind that Saber can mini-nuke people, even if she doesn't have the highest attack rating around. Underage Lolly King has 2 roles that she can fill adequately. A light offensive support, because Charisma buffs everyone's damage, and Instinct provides a few more crit stars that could be the difference between guaranteeing someone else's crit, or maybe even one of Saber's own attacks, or as a light tank, since she's got over 15k health at level 90. When it comes to skills and what you should level up first, focus on Charisma and Mana Burst. Instinct is generally awful, so just get it to level 4 and call it a day. As for craft essences, try LZO or any craft essence that helps boost buster damage, or Moonbath to fit her role as a tank. Her Bond CE is also a good choice because it makes her a better offensive support, and K-Scope or any craft essence that starts off with MP charge is always handy for farming. Attila is your damage pump Saber. She's got good health and good attack, and her skills mainly focus on buffing herself so that she does more damage. You can think of her as an Artoria who's geared more for offense and trades MP nuke damage for more consistent command card damage instead. Like Artoria, Altera can fit in any team thanks to her deck, and due to her higher attack rating, she can fit in more nicely in teams that need a strong point man, or I guess in this universe, point woman, who can dish out consistent and reliable damage. But similar to Saber, she's much more suited for general battles and farming, since even if her skills are more specialized, they're still not the greatest for boss fights and challenge fights. The gender-flipped Scourge of God also has a Buster MP, which effectively means that she's perfect as a wave clear. She can't turn it into a nuke to the same extent that Saber can, but its overcharge effect does inflict a defense debuff, so remember to throw out Photon Ray at the beginning of a volley so that all attacks after it can benefit from the debuff. Good Civilization Girl's main role on any given team is to go full sweaty tryhard and be main DPS with her high attack combined with the Crest of the Star, and with tactics to help boost the damage output of her own MP and those of others if you can get her teammates to throw out their own MPs at the same time as she does. Natural Body also heals her a little, so generally speaking she's actually a somewhat self-sustaining servant and can handle her own, though outside of tactics she doesn't really provide anything else for her team in return. You'll want to level Crest of the Star first, since that's her most important self-buff. It's what Saber's instinct should have been, but never will. It's really up to you which skills you want to level afterwards though. Go for tactics if you like being able to nuke people with lots of MPs at once, or for a natural body if you find your Attila constantly getting bullied, and we all know that bullying Attila is bad civilization. LZO and other CEs that buff buster performances are solid choices on Altera, and since her main job is to beat up people as best she can, her Bond CE, which is basically the same as Artoria's, is also a good choice on her. Victor of the Moon can work with Attila, but it's more gimmicky than anything, since Natural Body's crit star pull effect only works for one turn, and we don't even have that interlude in NA at the time of this video recording anyway. K-Scope and its counterparts are, needless to say, useful for farming or for wave clear. And that does it for the Sabers. Now let's move on to the Archers. The King of Heroes is the best archer in the game for NA FGO as far as this video is concerned. That alone should tell you something, you mongrel! In addition to being able to fit in with most teams thanks to his deck, that's the same as everyone else's that we've been talking about in this video so far, he has good health and attack stats, good charge gain and star gen thanks to his high hit counts and golden rule, and an MP that deals bonus damage against every single servant in the game except for like 8 of them. Gil has 2 roles. He can be a light offensive support and a point man hybrid with his Charisma A+ and high damage, or he can be a dedicated crit archer thanks to his independent action A+ passive, his collector EX skill, and his good star gen that more or less ensures that he'll hog all his stars for his own greedy ass. When it comes to arrogant fuckboy's skills, level Charisma, just like the one that Saber has, since it's by far his most useful skill, because unlike the other 2 skills that he's got, at least before you get Treasure of Babylon, it's actually noticeably useful. As a matter of fact, you can just completely ditch the other 2, at least until, again, you can get around to upgrading his 3rd skill via Strengthening Quest, which isn't available on NA at the moment anyway. LZO and its usual suspects are reliable CEs to have on Egotistical Maniac, but also try him out with Victor if you like the idea of him blowing people up with crits as big as his ego. Or, if you don't have Victor, use Entumbra instead. K-Scope and Imaginary Element are again handy, since Enema Elish is a Buster AoE MP. And y'all know what that means. Domestic Violence Goddess is a very situational archer, but when you know you're about to go up against male Saber or male Berserker bosses, she can come in very, very handy for a servant whose attack rating is somehow even lower than Artoria's. Besides nuking enemies with male reproductive organs, Artemis is similar to Gil in that she can fill a crit roll thanks to her evade skill that gives her crits bonus damage, independent action A+, and her archer class star pull weight. This means that she's in a rather unique and certainly unusual niche of being an arts-based crit archer, especially in the current meta of NA FGO, which in turn means that she can be part of arts teams and thus be able to spam her NP over and over, which, mind you, is single target, meaning that it has the potential to do a lot of damage against bosses, which we just mentioned, which Plot Goddess is definitely geared more towards. If you don't like the crit roll, try building Plush Toy Fetishist as an archer tank instead. She's got over 14,500 health at max ascension, and paired with Affection of the Goddess and her evade skill, she can last for a surprisingly long time. But to some of you, I'm sure that's not really a surprise. You should also take note that her MP, once strengthened, debuffs an enemy's attack, reduces their MP gauge, and lowers their crit chance, thereby indirectly making her even tankier. Level Affection of the Goddess, as that's probably the one skill that you'll find yourself using most often on her. Only level up her evade if you're trying to make her crit roll work, and only start leveling Whimsical Bond when it's time to get wrecked by Gawain. Since Diana is more or less the arts version of Gil, use Formalcraft and its variants or another ending. 2030 is also a great choice for Artie to have, because not only does 2030 provide crit stars that she really needs to let her do her job as a crit archer, but the CE itself also gives her additional health, which makes her already huge plots even plottier. Same thing goes with Atumbra for the whole crit archer thing. Her Bond CE is also worth considering, since it makes her crits, and everyone else's for that matter, all the more lethal. Done with the archers, let's move on to the lancers, but since Shisho isn't out yet at the time of this recording, let's skip her for now, which means that we'll have to talk about Drake.
I be yelling out money over everything, money on my mind. Then she wanna
Basically Altera, who's combined her Crest of the Stars skill with her tactics and with worse stats, probably because she's gotten too drunk off too much cheap ass beer that's probably nothing but American piss water. That, and Drake is a writer with a Buster AoE MP. You know what that means! Other than farming doors, Drake can be a good wave clear by using her MP in tandem with her Voyager of the Storm and Pioneer of the Stars skills. Also make sure that you've got her Strengthening Interlude done for some extra damage on it. She can also be a good crit star generator because her attacks have a lot of hits, and both her third skill and her MP produce stars. The problem with this is that the bulk of her stars that she generates come from a skill and her NP, which means that for the most part her star gen isn't all that reliable. That, and she's also a writer, so she'll probably hog all the stars that she makes to herself anyway. Plot Pirate's most important skill is her first, since it's her only support skill. If you have K-Scope or Limit Broken Imaginary Element, you don't really need to bother leveling Pioneer the Stars. Only level it if you don't have a Limit Broken Imaginary Element and just have a regular one, at least level 6, so that way she can still have her MP on command. Elzio and Victor are good on her thanks to her Buster Brave Chain, but by far K-Scope and Imaginary Element are her best CEs. Since she's a farmer as a side job, you might also want to look out for her at your local farmer's market or something the next time you're out there. Her Bond CE is also pretty good too, because it plays very well with her first skill. Since Drake's our only 5-star writer for now, let's continue on with the casters. Let's start with Waver. At the beginning of the fight, push all 3 buttons down here to make your entire team Super Saiyan for 3 turns, and to give one teammate 50% MP charge right off the bat. That's it. Tamamo isn't as brain dead of a support caster as Waver is, since you actually need some degree of technical awareness of what the hell she does to get the most use out of her. Her main shtick is that her MP decreases skill cooldown, a mechanic that, so far, no one else in NAFGO has at the moment. Combine this with Tammy's ability to spam her NP with her heavy arts deck and arts chains in an arts team, oh, and her MP also recharges everyone's MPs depending on overcharge level, including her own, and you get the ability to skill spam to the point where you make the game hilariously broken. Fluffy Tail is also the best art support caster just because of her third skill alone, Fox's Wedding. Basically the arts version of Mana Burst, but it's targetable, meaning that she can basically synergize really well with other servants with arts focused decks, which we'll get to later. Long story short, Tamamo can more or less single-handedly make arts teams meta-viable to the point where Delightworks would probably nerf her ass if she didn't bring them 8-fold returns on their 4th quarter investments. Level Fox's Wedding first, then Shapeshift, and then Witchcraft. Just keep in mind that all these skills are very useful and worth leveling, but do concentrate on prioritizing Fox's Wedding because that's obviously her most powerful skill. What you want to level after that is really up to you. Naturally, being an arts-based servant, Fullcraft and its counterparts are the safe choices for her, but if you like the whole tanky caster idea, since she does have over 14k health at max ascension, Moonbath or Maiden Halloween are worth considering to routinely provide bigger heals for her. And surprisingly enough, her charge gain itself is actually pretty shit, so Halloween Petite Devil alleviates that problem and starts her off at 50% MP charge, 60% if limit broken. Prism of Cosmos, especially when limit broken, has been cited to be one of Tammy's best CEs as well, if you happen to have it. If you want to set up a crit team with Tammy in it, have Tammy hold on to 2030. And, of course, Fan Club is great too. Now on to the Assassins. Wait, Jack's not out yet. Next! Dracula's a bit of a misleading Berserker due to his balance deck and an Arts NP, which means that his niche is an Arts team damage pump. As you've probably already heard in other FGO videos, one of the biggest weaknesses of an Arts team is a lack of consistent strong damage, and Vlad, being a Berserker, is one of the best remedies you can have to make up for said lack of damage. It's not to say that Vlad can't work on any other team though. Given good support and mindful usage of his own skills and attacks, he can still very easily be the heavy hitter of any team that he's in. It's just that he just really happens to shine in Arts teams. If you're at a loss as to who you should put into a potential Arts team because the team doesn't have enough damage dealing capabilities, look no further. Foxy Uncle and Foxy Tammy get along pretty well together, as in like really well together. I mean, why else would he spook me and Tamagotcha? And can engage in a rather exciting and considerably bloody rampage together for the simple fact that Tammy can cover all of Vlad's shortcomings with her skills and NP, while Chill Vampire Uncle goes around poking people with his pointy sticks. Homocraft and its usual suspects are the safe choice for Vlad, not surprisingly. You could get away with giving him LZO or its counterparts, but really only if you're not planning to use his NP very much, because otherwise, that's just wasted damage without Homocraft. In fact, I would actually say that Limit Broken Fullcraft is probably the best CE that Vlad can have in NA FGO at the moment. K-Scope is pretty damn convenient on him because of his Bloodsucker skill, and is great for dailies and farming. And Moonbath is pretty handy on him as well because he's got a lot of health and can regen health on his own in case your team doesn't really have any other healers. Golden Boy is more of your typical Zerk. He comes in, slaps a bitch, and gets you the fuck out, assuming he doesn't get his own ass slapped in the meantime. With the Buster meme deck of the Triple B and the Buster MP, and his own version of Mana Burst that applies to all his damage and not just his Buster cards, Buster Brave Chains are the name of the game if you just need one particular motherfucker to get off your screen right the fuck now. Like Drake, Gintoki is pretty linear in his gameplay. He just hits people really hard, and as long as he stays alive, he'll keep hitting bitches really hard. So in that sense, I guess he's kinda like Chris Brown. Sorry, Rihanna. Do keep in mind that his MP's overcharge effect does have a stun chance, so if you need to stun an enemy to keep them from getting their MP off, sick Kintoki on him, and see if he can stun him. So the general idea with him is that, you just buster the fuck out of everyone, keep him alive for as long as you can, and zap some bitches whenever and wherever you see fit. Level monstrous strength, followed by natural body, and then animal comms. Just like Drake, if you've got K-Scope, you really don't need to level animal comms at all. And for his CEs, LZO and his counterparts are pretty much his go-tos, or K-Scope for instant NPs. And finally, we'll round this video out with Best Apocrypha Girl, Joan of Arc. So Jian is a ruler. Rulers take half damage from every class in the game except for Berserkers and for Avengers, the latter of which isn't even in the game as far as this video is concerned. So yeah, in other words, she's a tank. Oh, and she also has like 16,500 health at level 90.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
She's also art-based, but unlike other art-based servants, Joan can fit into a wider variety of teams thanks to her NP, which casts a one-turn invul on the whole party at the cost of stunning herself for the next turn afterward. Keep in mind that this stun is considered a debuff, so if anyone on your team has a debuff clear, you may want to use it on her, in case the next deck of command cards that you get is all hers. She's especially useful on Berserker teams because her NP also heals everyone and grants a small defense boost depending on NP level, and her Bond CE also improves everyone's Buster card performance by 15% if you happen to have it. Her skills are mediocre at best, but since you're kinda stuck with them until DW decides to get off their lazy rich asses and buff her skills too, whenever the hell that'll be, if ever, I'd recommend leveling Revelation first, since that's her support skill of sorts. Afterwards, it's up to you. Just keep in mind that you're going to have to level all her skills a lot to actually make them any good. Fullmocraft and its counterparts are, as you might expect, French waifus go-to CEs, but 2030 is also good on her too for the health boost and the synergy that it provides with the Revelation skill. Healing CEs are also good because of her tank role like Moonbath and Maiden Halloween, and as stated before, her Bond CEs makes her really shine with Berserker teams or teams with heavy buster card affinities. And that's all I've really got to say about all the 5 stars in the game so far. I hope you've enjoyed the video and learned a few new tidbits of info that'll help you decide on how best you want to use your own 5-star servants. Play around with them, experiment with them by putting them into a variety of team compositions. Meta teams and meme teams are nice and all, but keep in mind that FGO can be played successfully with any particular servant provided that you can set them up properly, as Honaku Green's videos will show you. Find the teams that best suit either your own playstyle or those of your servants, and see what works best for you, and who knows, you might find a team that just might surprise you with just how well it works out. If you don't have any 5-star servants and are watching this video because you kinda want one, my deepest condolences. If it makes you feel any better, don't let the fact that your account doesn't have any SSRs distract you from the fact that a certain YouTuber whale had to spend almost $2 grand for a single copy of Drake, or the fact that another certain YouTuber dropped almost 1,000 quartz on stream on Fluffy Tail and didn't get her anyway. Other than that, I wish you all the best of whale luck in the foreseeable gacha pulling future. Also keep in mind that because FGO NA is still a developing game, with all the content currently in the Japanese version on their way to NA, there will undoubtedly be more 5-star servants who will come join us, or not for many of you. So I will make another video to cover them in bulk, like how I've done in this video here, when I think enough new 5-star servants have been released to warrant
another one.
So if you're wondering why I didn't include Okta back when I was talking about the 5-star Sabers in this video, just know that I started working on this video well before Guda Guda and Halloween events. It's because I plan to make a follow-up series to this video where I talk about 5-star servants in more detail. And I know that there are many other FGO YouTubers out there who make servant spotlight videos and the like, but let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see me throw my own hat into the ring, so to speak, and make a series of a servant spotlight-esque video series focusing on these 5-star servants whom we've covered in this video and in a little bit more depth. These potential future videos, and this one that you're watching right now actually, will be inspired in part by Gregor's how-to videos on Rainbow Six Siege, whom I've referenced last time in my where and how to farm essential materials in FGO video that I put out like 2 months ago or so. And so if you guys would like to see these videos, also suggest whom you'd like to see be reviewed first. So until then, my name is Agent Psycho, aka ToastSniper98, your friendly neighborhood whale, and keep calm, buy quartz, and
喜べ少年